Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk to you about the importance of recognizing when your thoughts and behavior patterns are caused by your childhood conditioning. Because when you realize that, it's a powerful thing because it allows you to know that those thoughts and those behavior patterns aren't exactly due to who you are at the core. Meaning, sometimes people pick up anxiety as they get older and they believe that that's just because that they're generally an anxious person. But quite often that anxiety is rooted in childhood conditioning where maybe their parents weren't around to show them love and support, so they felt like they had to go through childhood alone. Or maybe they were bullied by other kids at the time. And all those things kind of put them into this fight or flight mentality that they may not even realize. And that mentality is going to stick with them up until adulthood, until they realize that it's happening and choose to start reconditioning themselves to think and behave differently. So recognizing when your thought and behavior patterns are due to your childhood conditioning is huge. I would highly urge you to practice that level of self-awareness. And all it really takes is realizing when you're thinking specific ways or behaving in specific ways. Become self-aware of how you're thinking or how you're behaving, and ask yourself if that way of thinking or that way of behaving is actually due to you at the core, meaning who you are as an individual at the core of yourself, or is it because of your childhood conditioning? I mean, the reason I'm making this video is because I had this thought last night actually, and I had my phone turned off, so I immediately turned it back on so I could jot down some notes for making a video on this, because I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but I was having this thought pattern that I don't remember exactly what it was. It may have been a few like anxious type thoughts, and I caught myself as I was having them. I was literally sitting in bed. I do a meditation before I sleep every night, and it happened during that meditation. And I realized that those thoughts that I was thinking weren't actually due to me at the core. They were due to childhood conditioning. And when I had that realization, I was like, holy crap, this is powerful. Because even in the moment, I caught myself thinking, these are not my thoughts. They're my childhood conditioning. And I kept repeating that in my head to kind of know that the way I was thinking in that moment wasn't actually due to me and how I truly think at the core. It was due to conditioning from my childhood, from being bullied and the way I was treated by everyone else. So once I realized that, I could reject that way of thinking because I suddenly realized it wasn't me. It wasn't due to who I actually am at the core, because I don't think that way normally. That's just not how I operate. I'm not normally having thoughts like that. So it was a powerful realization for me. And that led to me wanting to make this video, because I truly do believe that a lot of us have these hang-ups from our childhood conditioning. We'll have negative thought patterns. We'll have negative behavioral patterns. And they're all due to our childhood conditioning that we never rose above, because many of us don't have therapists, and therapists are probably one of the best ways to work through these issues. But I mean, let's face it, like probably less than 1% of people have a therapist and go to therapy regularly. I mean, I certainly don't, but it's something I do want to explore further down the road when I have the money for it. And that's why so many people don't do it. It's freaking expensive. But let's not get into how society doesn't exactly prioritize mental health. That's a topic for another video. But yeah, so a lot of people don't go to therapy. And that's one of really the only ways most people are going to confront these childhood conditioning patterns on their own, because normally people aren't really going to have these epiphanies. They're not going to think that way. Most people don't meditate enough to, or have enough self-awareness to get to that place. But you can actually focus on having enough self-awareness to realize this. It just takes asking yourself or checking in with yourself from moment to moment. And if you catch yourself being incredibly anxious or being self-defeatist or just sabotaging yourself and not supporting yourself with your thoughts, just check in with yourself and say, hey, the way that I'm thinking right now, is this due to who I actually am at the core, my core being? Am I generally a negative, anxious, whatever person? Or is it because of childhood conditioning patterns that I haven't broken free from? And once you realize that it's option B and it's from your childhood conditioning, then you have enough self-awareness to know that that's actually the case, so you can catch it in the future, and then you can start reshaping the way you think. So when you have those thoughts like that and you know that they're from your childhood conditioning, you can be aware of them and then choose to reject them and say, hey, you know what? This is not me. These thoughts are not from me. They're from my childhood conditioning. So maybe this voice that I'm hearing is a voice that was planted in my head from a childhood bully or a childhood teacher or a childhood adult who didn't support me and said these stupid things that you can't do that, I don't believe in you, and realize that that's not actually your thoughts. It's the voice of that person who conditioned you when you were young, too young to know that the crap they were spewing at you is BS, and it has more to do with their insecurities than you. So the more that you practice this, the more you'll be able to notice these moments and rise above them. So practice checking in with yourself throughout the day as many times as possible. Just be more aware of your thought patterns. Catch yourself when you're thinking in the moment and just try to see whether or not those thoughts are actually coming from you, like who you are at the core, or are they coming from childhood conditioning? And same thing with your behavioral patterns. If you keep acting out in certain ways, keep having the same reaction to specific events, then ask yourself, is that actually from you at the core, or are those behavioral patterns from your childhood conditioning? For instance, maybe you become small and you close off from the world when people start yelling at you because maybe your parents used to yell at you and that was the way you defended yourself or reacted to it back then. But now you need to catch that behavioral pattern and say, hey, you know what? This isn't helpful anymore. This is something that's left over from my childhood and I need to rise above it. And then with that self-awareness, you can start choosing to react in different ways. So I highly suggest that all of you practice this and just realize more often when your thoughts and behavioral patterns are actually due to your childhood conditioning and not who you are at the core. So that's pretty much all I had for you, or have for you guys in today's video. I truly hope you enjoyed it, and if you like content like this, then be sure to subscribe for more. Otherwise, like the video. That's the easiest way you can help me out, and let me know your thoughts on the subject below. Let me know if this was a helpful video, and please share this with anyone who would benefit from it. But otherwise, guys, please remember, we're all on this journey together. We're all learning and growing and becoming better and rising above our childhood conditioning together. So be kind to yourself throughout this process. Don't beat yourself up and just take things day by day. Just keep going. That's the most important part. Just keep improving by 1% every single day. It's a tiny amount. It doesn't take much effort. But the more you do that, it'll compound over time. And a year down the road, you'll be way further ahead than where you ever thought you could be just because you chose to work on yourself every single day. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Arrivederci.